Hello and welcome to Money Matters. After the national security law was introduced over the summer, the U.S. government announced that Hong Kong would lose its special trade status. Following the move, exports of Hong Kong-made products to the U.S. must now be labeled as made in China. Zella Chin reports on how the new policy impacts Hong Kong's small and medium-sized firms.
So we have different models with different...
In the industrial district of Taiwan, William Shum shows off his collection of bling. A banker turned trader, he founded a watch company in 2011.
It has a very specific and also have a very strong historic value about the Hong Kong brand. There's a very good advantage to design, to find a good design concepts from the merge of East and West.
The Hong Kong native leveraged the city's historic roots in manufacturing and its reputation for brand quality. And he had to work hard to get the Made in Hong Kong label for his products from the SAR government.
We have to try to contact and coordinate with different schools in Hong Kong to try to find the wonderful and potential candidates that can be suitable to be applied as a watch master in Hong Kong. And also we have to prepare to find good equipment and also to find a good space in our factory, in our headquarters in Hong Kong.
The U.S. market makes up about 5% of his revenues, and he has dreams of developing it further.
For U.S. market, its influence can be the top in the world because of its creative industry, its entertainment industry, and also its well-developed different distribution channel. It can help my brand to spread worldwide.
But those hopes were dashed when the U.S. government announced in August that Hong Kong manufactured products, which carry a Made in Hong Kong label, would need to be labeled as Made in China for the U.S. market. The exact wording is still being negotiated. But on the customs documents, the country of origin would remain Hong Kong. The new rule takes effect on November 9th.
The change in the marking requirement in the U.S. market.
This economist from the Hong Kong Trade Development Council says U.S. taxes on Hong Kong products won't change.
On the custom papers, made in Hong Kong products can continue to use Hong Kong as a country of origin when they are going to report to the U.S. customs agencies. Okay, whenever any taxes or duties that they are going to pay, they will continue to assess on the basis of made in Hong Kong products, not a made in China product.
The economist says the impact of the label change is quite small because Hong Kong-made products make up only 1.7% of Hong Kong exports to the U.S. But the new policy is causing headaches for some local SMEs. So, William, how do the U.S. rule changes affect your products?
Oh, actually, for example, when you see this watch, we have the Made in Hong Kong, the label on it at the back of the case. But now you see that we have to, because of the U.S. market, we have to change the whole case. And then you see inside there's a Hong Kong, and then my watch brand word, and somebody you have to take it out.
It's a little mechanism, little piece of the mechanism.
Yeah, and also very delicate. We have to engrave inside.
So you're going to take that entire watch apart just to...
Yeah, you have to take out the whole...
Just to follow the U.S. rules.
Yes, so it's a big, really time consuming.
While the policy is still being finalized, the most cost-effective solution for William is to order new watch parts without the Hong Kong engraving. And the watchmasters would replace the old parts in the timepieces. This will add about 10% of production costs to each watch. And he says he would have to redefine his watch brand for the U.S. market.
An overall image to the whole world, my brand is a Hong Kong local brand. We have a wonderful watchmaster in Hong Kong to assemble. So everything is very clear. But now suddenly, it seems we have to hide something from a very clear picture to show to customers. So somehow it may a little bit affect to the customer's perception to our brand.
Maria Chu will have to change her products. She is the COO of a garment manufacturer based in Hong Kong. The company moved much of its factory operations from mainland China to Hong Kong a couple of years ago to make high-end clothes such as ball gowns.
Now we need very niche handwork and work. So it's better quality control and better workmanship. So we moved back to Hong Kong.
Producing garments in Hong Kong costs 20% to 50% more than in mainland China because of higher salaries and higher rent. She sells her garments to U.S. department stores and makes about $250,000 US a quarter. And she's proud that the products have a Made in Hong Kong label.
When you saw something that is made in Hong Kong, the U.S., the very expensive stores, you're so happy because your stuff, your design stuff can be there. It represents Hong Kong design capabilities and production capabilities.
While Maria is unhappy about the label change, she's making plans to modify her products for the U.S. market. To find out more information about the item, a customer can scan the barcode on the box.
Where would you have to change on the app?
We have to notify the barcode system, and then they will have to add it within the system. I think in the coming future, we have to change both of this. See, the product description, you have the 100% Hong Kong made, handmade, and also the product country of origin is Hong Kong.
So what would you change it to?
I think make in China, what the U.S. want.
And Maria plans to change the label on the face mask too.
We have to either print a woven label, and then we have to stitch on. This is by U.S. law, so we have to stitch on Made in China.
Maria is waiting for clarity on the U.S. rules before making changes, and she hopes it won't affect her business.
Our buyer in the U.S., at the moment, they said they are not really caring where it's made, the labeling, because we have a brand, and the brand is selling well.
Over in Central, Trevor Ng will have to relabel his products. He is a third generation running a family food manufacturing business. It specializes in sauces and condiments. The business has a few retail shops in Hong Kong and exports to countries with a Hong Kong diaspora. About 10% of the revenues come from the United States.
So Trevor, where do U.S. customers encounter your products?
They can buy it at both mainstream supermarkets and also traditional Chinese supermarkets.
So what changes do you need to make to your labels then?
Well, take this bottle, for example. So there's two parts. There's a manufacturer, and there's a part which says product of Hong Kong. So we think right now the labeling change applies to this product of Hong Kong part. We might need to change that to something else.
While the exact details of the label change are still being worked out, Trevor advises his U.S. distributors to stock up on supplies.
Usually the distributor will keep 1 to 3 months stock, and we encourage them right now to keep about 6 months or more, so that there's a buffer just in case anything changed and they'll be able to react accordingly.
He hopes that customer perception of his products won't change. But before these manufacturers start relabeling their products, the Hong Kong government formally demanded the U.S. drop its plans for the Made in China labeling regulations on the SAR in September.
Such requirement on origin marking go contrary to WTO regulations. And also it infringes Hong Kong's right as a separate custom territory and our rights under WTO.
David Dodwell, the executive director of the Hong Kong APEC Trade Policy Group, says essentially the U.S. is challenging Hong Kong's status as an independent member of the WTO.
Where Hong Kong does have an independent designation that designates it as a distinct economy and its distinct territory, then it's very important to protect that.
David says the WTO membership is one of the few criteria that Hong Kong has to assert its trade autonomy, which is guaranteed in the Basic Law. And the Hong Kong government can escalate the label issue to the WTO, but the case would be stuck in limbo because the U.S. has immobilized the dispute settlement process in the organization.
the US administration, for a range of reasons, has decided that Hong Kong does play an important role helping China to maintain efficient, effective, fluent contact with the global markets. So disruption of Hong Kong is seen potentially as a disruption to China as well.
The uncertainty of the label change in the last several months has forced William to rethink his investment in the US market.
It doesn't mean I give up this country, because as I share with you, this country should be the biggest for doing business. But at this moment, it seems a little bit hard to, yeah.
After the break, we take a look at a seaside residence in Chung Kwan O and see if it passes our inspector's close examination. Stay with us. Welcome back to Money Matters. It's not easy to find a seaside residence in Hong Kong, and flats are usually small. Reporter Alice Khan brings a surveyor and an inspector into a new unit in Chung Kwan O to see if it's up to scratch. Malibu is a brand new project in Lohas Park. It's located along the shore of Junk Bay. The complex is close to Lohas Park MTR station. There's also a modestly sized shopping mall. Residents can easily go one stop to Chung Kwan O MTR, where there are several malls above the station. In recent years, expats have chosen to live in mass residential areas such as Chung Kwan O. Rents are cheaper, and parents are still able to find international schools in the area. Built by Wheelock Properties, Malibu is made up of 1,600 units. Unit sizes range from 345 square feet to over 1,000. In this episode, we bring our flat inspectors in to examine this 549 square foot, 2-bedroom apartment on the 8th floor in Block 1. The homeowner bought this D unit in July 2018 for $7.85 million. For rental, this kind of unit ranges from $18,000 to $22,000 a month, depending on the view and floor. So, what does the owner or any tenant get for their money? We invited flat inspector Chim Chai Nam to check the place out. Chim zeroed in on the glass in the windows and was not impressed.
Scratches.
Chim found most of the windows had scratches and cracks.
The major defect is the scratch off or chipped glass. 8 panels have to replace it. So maybe 3 or 4 panels pass. It is the protest work during construction period. It's not good. So some worker damaged the glass.
Next, the master bedroom. Chim examines the plaster on the ceiling and walls.
There's a hollow screening on the ceiling. The hollow area will be turned bigger if excessive vibration at the ceiling get bigger and will fall down.
He also takes a look at the living room walls.
Okay.
And the toilet? Chim finds a defect in a tile on the canopy.
There's a hollow tile above the glass door.
The tiles in the kitchen and bathroom are in good shape. Testing the drainage system is a must.
No water leaking from the WC. Good.
But when Chim tests the water flow in the shower, he notices something off. There are water drops bouncing out of the drain, and a foul smell seeping into the rest of the flat. Chim says when the bathroom door is closed and the exhaust fan switched on, negative pressure could be pulling in contaminated water or sewer smells into the bathroom through the bathtub drain.
Because the air flow from the drain hole. When the unit windows and door closed, air come out from the unit and make up air from everywhere. One way is from the drain hole of the bathtub.
Chim says whoever lives in this flat will need to open the window when the bathroom is in use and keep the plug in the drain to stop the foul smell from spreading through the flat. Inside the kitchen, he switches on the exhaust fan, keeping the doors and windows closed. We hear a whistling sound from the door.
Because the exhaust fan and the ventilator is on, air come out, and the make up air come through the door gap, so nuisance from the or noise from the gap.
Can the noise be stopped?
Open this window. Open the glass door, noise go out.
He checks the washing machine.
No water leaking.
And the water pipes under the sink are fine. Finally, Chim tests the floor panels.
No loose floor panel and no uneven level.
Next, we invite surveyor Raymond Chan to look at the layout and design of the unit. Raymond spots a design flaw at the entrance.
I think turning this corner is a little bit tight. It is actually very adequate for people to come in. But if you, say, move in some big piece of furniture, it may be difficult.
The layout of the master bedroom.
The layout, as it's designed, is quite a reasonable layout. One is that you can put a double bed in here.
He thinks this working platform in the master bedroom could be more useful.
When this door swings out, it leaves not much room for putting in any drying rack.
He also spots another problem.
This is a transparent piece of glass, and it is inside a master bedroom. I think it is not appropriate. One is that at least you need to put in a curtain to shelter it because you want to keep some privacy in a master bedroom, of course. And also, looking out from this transparent piece of glass, that is a rear yard environment, and this is not a nice scenery look.
This room is only big enough for a single bed. Next, Raymond checks out the bathroom. He finds the shower curtain rail too low, especially for tall people.
How do you find the layout and the design of their living room?
It is quite efficient in use. And basically, it can be divided into the living room area, and this area can be used as a dining room. And in the living room area, the television set can be put at either side. But I was saying that most likely the television set will be placed in here, where the sofa can be put there. And it gives a better view through the balcony.
He says the kitchen is problematic.
When you are cooking, especially using the open flame range, you need to open a little bit of the window to let some fresh air come in for the exhaust fan, exhaust hood. But outside there, that is air conditioning condenser in there. And it is meant to be hot, and the hot air will be around this unit.
On the bright side, if the weather is fine, occupants can enjoy an unobstructed view.
The view of this unit is quite good, especially if you put the sofa in that area and look out through the balcony. You can see some of the sea view in there, quite unobstructed at this moment.
After asking the developer about the faults, Wheelock said in an email that these were new flat teething issues, which would eventually be corrected.
Trump or Biden? Asked the shamans of Peru. Unlike the Russians, these Peruvian shamans won't be voting, but they defied social distancing rules to perform ancestral rituals to try and predict a winner of the U.S. elections. With the obligatory incense, flowers, and photo of Trump and Biden, chanting and blowing a traditional Andean shell instrument, the shamans invoked the Pachamama, or Earth Mother, for the vote to take place in peace without attacks or any witchcraft between the rivals. But like the polls stateside, the voodoo could do little to cast a nod to a probable victor. It's a difficult thing to foresee without 20/20 vision. "50 meters up? No, that's not an unidentified flying object. It's Belgium's Dinner in the Sky, relaunched to take social distancing to new heights. Belgians looking for a different culinary experience will once again be able to eat up as the Dining in the Sky experience returns from COVID-19 lockdown. The company has been set up in some 60 countries since its 2006 launch and sees diners strapped into seats at a table and whisked into the sky by a crane, which is good because if you walked out without paying in this joint, you take a battering when you hit the ground. Ever wondered what an alligator sounds like after breathing in helium? No? Well, that didn't stop a few persistent investigators from finding out anyway. After a painstaking study, we now know somewhere between a normal grunt and a heliumed croak. The study won a Spoof Ig Nobel Award for acoustics. The goal, to see if non-avian reptiles have resonances in their vocalizations. Why? Why not? Crocs walk. The research is actually a serious scientific experiment designed to understand how alligators communicate. The hard part? Getting an alligator to breathe helium. In the end, it was a snap. They put a very well-behaved Chinese alligator in a tank and then pumped in the helium-oxygen mix.
They sound different, they look different, and this is evidence that also non-avian reptiles have resonances in their vocalizations.
The scientists say resonances are linked to body image. The grunts may advertise the caller's body size, and size differences affect courtship. A helium-induced croak may not appeal to a mate as much as a grunt on pure oxygen. This may be the alligator version of the relationship hand grenade. Honey, am I fat?
That's Money Matters for this week. Next time, two analysts recommend the most promising stocks for your portfolio. Thanks for watching. Good night.